Bring it back.
Hi guys, what's going on? I'm Evo and today we are back with a review of Oriental Empires. So I did a video review of this game sort of probably about 2 months ago now. It proved to be a very popular video, people seem to quite like it. But a lot has changed in the game since 2 months. Plus I think I've learned a lot more sort of how the game works. So I thought I'd do a new video for new players looking to get the game, sort of give a bit of an idea how the game plays and some of the features of the game. So once you first start the game up, it's obviously just a basic interactive menu, and there's single player and multiplayer compatibility. I've not really made use of the multiplayer yet, although that's something I would like to get into, but games will be fairly long, so it's something that you need to consider. So the game plays something similar to sort of a bit like Civilization mixed in with like a bit of a Total War style battle thing. So there's sort of the ground campaign or a smaller warring states sort of scenario. But for now we'll look at the Grand Campaign. The Grand Campaign roughly spans from sort of 1500 BC through to 1500 AD, through to the sort of the introduction of gunpowder into Chinese warfare. So sort of about 3,000 years. So it's quite a sort of civilization type span of history, but instead of being all about the world, it is focused on ancient China. So initially, if you've just got the game, you'll have access to sort of the first sort of 6 nations, something like that. But after you've played for so long, you'll then get access to the rest of them. And much like Civilization, each nation has its sort of own special abilities. So like the Wu have, you know, 10% to kill chance with bladed weapons, different naval units, and they have sort of specific traits. So that these are farmers because they seem to be based near the river. They're farmers. These people are herders. They're a bit more inland perhaps, and where they traditionally live is maybe more pasture type land, so that's why they tend to be herders. And that has different effects on sort of the buildings you build and the units you can recruit. So some of the people like the White D are sort of more of a sort of hunter-gatherer, tribal herder type people, and they don't tend to get like the organised pike units that you sort of get in later Chinese warring state sort of era. Instead, they tend to have more lot of loose tribal units, almost like the barbarians in Rome Total War. Whereas people like I've been doing a Let's Play series on Oriental Empires as the Shang, and these people are a lot more organised. They sort of make use of proper military units, heavy spearmen in lamella armour, with helmets and heavy spears and large shields. So sort of you can get different military bonuses with the different people. The Han, perhaps the most famous unit, particularly crossbow type units. So I think that gives you sort of a bit of an idea, and you can quite easily start a turn. So if you just pick a random people and head into a game, we get to pick the map normally, and then you start off. So in the game, so we've picked, by the looks of it, like sort of a relatively tribal people. They've got yurt huts, that sort of thing, and you start off with one town. This is your general with his bodyguard, and you also get a settler unit. So you can create new towns with settler units, sort of very similarly to you can in Civilization. So you know you could move the settler unit. It's normally a good idea to send some protection with him. You could send your general with his foot bodyguards. You see these people are fairly well armoured, and they've got sort of like some rather vicious looking axe type things. So if we just quickly skip that turn, just to show you sort of a bit of an idea what it's like. Hopefully I'll get to set the city. So, and then you can set up cities, so you can establish a second city. And then this shows you your territory, and then within each city, you know, you can make use of. I can't build any farms yet because I haven't yet developed agriculture. But the basic premise, because these are a herder people, so they're more like steppe nomads, making use of hunter-gathering. But once you've researched agriculture, you can convert the lands into farms. You know, farms by the river can become sort of like terraced farms, cutting little channels from the river to provide water to all the farms and that sort of thing. So hopefully that sort of gives you a bit of an idea. You know, that's what you do when you get started. So if we return to the main menu, and let's have a look at loading in to one of my Shang turns, where we've sort of developed our cities a little bit more. You'll see some of the sort of larger moments in the game. So this is my city from our Let's Play series I've been doing. So once you get larger, you get much larger cities. Oops. So if we look at, say, my capital, you see the red represents all the trade networks. So trading is a pretty critical part of the game. It's about exporting various products to other cities, both in your network and other cities outside your network. Let's see if we can see the city buildings, what's currently constructed. So I've got various military buildings, but I've also got things like a pottery workshop, a silk weaver, and so that silk is then exported to the other cities, both in my network and elsewhere, like out to the Han, down to the south, and to the White D, look up to the north. You also, as you get later into the game, you start to get larger army units. You see all my peasants working in the fields. It is quite a graphically nice game, and it's particularly nice. There really aren't very many games which focus on sort of the ancient Chinese culture, which I think is kind of cool. And it's pretty nice to look at, and I really like the military units. You've got some of these. These are my archers, my trained archers, and then you get my heavy spearmen. They've got sort of like a form of lamellar armor, heavy spears, big shields. I've got some chariots. So you sort of get a bit of an idea of how the game can look, and some of my archer units there look. So I think it's pretty cool when you get into sort of some of the later period battles. It's pretty nice. There's also a pretty large technology tree. It's split into power, which is loosely military technology, craft, which is sort of loosely economic technologies and technological research, so like bronze working, different armours, research swordsmiths, paper, that sort of thing. Thought, which is loosely religious technology, sort of the various Chinese cultural changes, tea culture, and that sort of thing. And then you've got knowledge, which is sort of more academic type research, I'd guess. Acupuncture, medicines, massage, anaesthetic, a crossbow, so that's a military one as well. So that sort of gives you a bit of an idea of some of the different technologies. And there's also different eras. So you get the early Bronze Age, the Warring States, and you get the Imperial era, where you start to get some of the more later period technologies. And there's get things like gunpowder, rocket launchers. It's the introduction of gunpowder, which gets brought into the game later on. There's also quite a detailed financial and economic aspect to the game. So you've got your income per turn from sort of taxes from local people, but then you've also got quite a lot on trading. And when you build sort of large buildings, building upkeep plays quite a big part. So if you want to maintain, a large palace, for example, at my capital, I think I've got in my capital, we've got a royal palace built, which costs 40 per turn. My various military buildings, my barracks, my armourer, my bower, and my weaponsmith. All these require upkeep, so they require, before you can start to recruit advanced units, you have to sort of have a reasonable network of relatively high tier cities to be able to support that. So you can't just go in making the best units in the game straight from the off, because you need the financial ability to support this sort of higher tier military buildings. So I hope that's sort of given you a bit of a rough overview of the game. You also get things like rebellions, the wars, sicknesses, your farms get burnt down like mine have been down here in our Let's Play series. If you've been watching that, you'll know that we've recently declared war on the White D, and they are sort of roaming all over my lands, burning my farms to the ground. They burnt a barn down here, and sort of burnt all the farms, which is a bit of a pain. So all these sort of things you have to contend with. There's also sort of like a full diplomatic screen with the different people. You can talk to the various people, like the Han. We get on well. You can demand information, alliances, declare war on them, trade embargo them, all the sort of traditional strategy game things you can do. You also get access to the full sort of, the various points, military strength, all that sort of thing. You'll see we're sort of currently vying for second in terms of military strength. The Chew, I did not know they had such a strong military strength. Well, that's going to be a problem later on in the game. I thought the Han were the strongest. Battles fought, you know, we've been involved not in that many battles. Enemy civilians killed. These people have been slaughtering civilians, etc, etc. This gives you a bit of an idea. And you can also do things, I wasn't thinking of that, not player status. I was thinking edicts. Again, this is kind of similar to sort of a civilization type thing. You can issue various commands and edicts which affect your nation. You can some you pay for, some have positive and negative effects. You know, some increase income but cause unrest. And if you cause too much unrest, you can get open rebellion. Like very recently, we had the Yellow Turban Rebellion broke out in the north of our territory. We had quite a hard time sort of crushing that and getting that back under control, although we did in the end. So I hope that's given you sort of a bit of an overview of the game. I know it's now a couple of months into the game, a couple of months older. It was released, I don't know when it was sort of October, September, sometime that time. But they've really ironed out some of the early bugs in the game now, and it really does run really rather well. And if you like Civilization, then I really strongly recommend you get this, because it really is a good fun little game. It's certainly very enjoyable. I'll probably tag on a little battle clip to the end of this video around about now, just to show sort of some of the combat footage. It's not ideal in the sense you don't actually get to control the combat, but it is pretty good fun and it looks good. So, I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. If you have, please like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. Thanks, guys. Shall see you on the next one.